Hi, I'm Sharon Shin. Today I'm going to show you how to paint a distressed Barnwood background, which I've used in my Cock-a-Doodle Coffee Company sign. Here's a picture of the sign that I created in Photoshop from a rooster photo my husband took, and some lettering. I've sized my photograph down to the size of my board and printed it out in black and white. We're going to use that for a pattern. But first, we need to prepare the board, and I've brushed on a coat of decoart multipurpose sealer, let that dry, given the board a light sanding, and then we're going to put a coat of lamp black, which is a decoart Americana color. I'm using a large filbert brush to do this. We just want to give one nice coat of black to the board. I'm going to do the top and all the edges. Now that our black background is dry, we're going to add some soap in streaks to the surface to resist our top coat and make it easier to sand off once it's dry. So I'm just taking this little bar of soap. You can use any soap. I got this one at one of the hotels we stayed at. And you can also use a candle, or some people will use Vaseline. I just don't like the idea of painting over Vaseline and getting it in my brushes, so I prefer to use soap or a candle. So I'm just making these vertical lines where I think there might be some wear and tear on the board if it was being weathered. So you can do as many or as few as you want. And then we're going to paint over this with a layer of a light beige. This color is decoart Americana oyster beige, and I'm just using a large flat brush and just dry brushing this on. So I don't care if it looks a little feathered and streaky in spots. That will just enhance the weathered look of the board. So just brush this over. I'm just doing the top surface. I'm not doing the edges. I'm going to leave them as like a black frame to the sign. And our rooster's going to be later painted in the center of this board, so I'll do a little better coverage right here in the middle to give us a good base coat to paint our rooster over. You may hear my bulldog snoring in the background. Okay, now our board's dry, and I'm using a little sanding pad, or you can use a piece of sandpaper. And I'm just going to lightly sand down the surface following the grain of the wood. And you'll see where our paint starts coming off in places, especially where we had that soap. So you can, again, sand as much or as little as you want. You just want this to look like a piece of weathered barnwood that the paint has cracked and chipped off of. And again, I'm not doing as much sanding in the center where my rooster is going to be. Once you get your board sanded, just wipe away the dust and use a paper towel or a damp rag to wipe off the surface, and then you're ready to transfer your pattern.